Happy week 29. It is November 1st.
I'm pretty sure I put the garden in like April 3rd or something like that. So we're on month 7, is it? That's crazy. I don't remember what's changed since last week, to be honest, other than the weather, that's for sure. I had plans for cleaning some stuff up over the weekend, but we had insane storms, so that didn't happen, but it did sort of knock down my tomato plant here. So let's just do a little round and see where everything is, because I actually haven't looked in the last few days. So the tomatoes, again, the plan was to sort of take this plant down this past weekend. That didn't happen, so hopefully I'll do it this weekend. There's barely any blushing happening anymore, so the tomatoes that are here are oh, okay, there's a couple of orange ones I can see through there. I don't know if you can see them, they're like right there. But mostly everything's green and not really ripening beyond that anymore, so I'm going to take what I can off of this and then take the plant down, and that'll be it for the cherry tomatoes at least. Although I think I might actually just go through and do all of the tomatoes, because there's not much left that's going to happen. There's another little orange one happening over there. While we're here, we have the radicchio. This head has actually gotten really big. Let's see. It's decently dense. I actually don't know when it's done. Oh, that's really dense in there. I don't know how to tell when radicchio's ready. I don't think it's ready. It's way smaller than you'd see anywhere else, so I'm just going to let that go. In other news, you have the start of a pumpkin right there. That started, I think I saw that last week. The plant itself isn't looking super healthy, so I don't know. It's grown a smidge in the last week, but not tons. Maybe it'll keep growing? I don't know. The plant just doesn't seem big enough to support like growing a pumpkin, but we'll find out. It's definitely not growing anymore. Like the vine isn't vining. This one is, but doesn't have any pumpkins on it. There was a flower on one of these the other day. It's gone now. The kale, I think with all the cold actually, let's see. Nope. Well, some of the little gnats that have been living in here have gone away, but not all of them. It's still pretty buggy in there. I might just yank that. I feel bad. There's so much kale here, but I'm not loving all the bugs, and with that many bugs, I'm kind of not really feeling eating it. So that might go too. And what else is over here that we can see? There's actually a new little kale plant popping up over there. That's where I cleared out some of the old kale, and it's already being eaten. I actually don't know what exactly is eating it, but I don't like it. Then through there you can see some of the bigger tomatoes, and let's probably see them better from the other side. We're gonna go over there. Okay. So we have a bunch of these plum sort of tomatoes here. They probably have to be taken in. They're actually starting to turn yellow compared to where they were a day or two ago. So I might leave them on for a few more days. I'll check the weather. I actually don't know what the weather's supposed to be. Right now it is 59 degrees. It's gone down to about in the 40s, which is pretty low. I think the other day we might have been pretty close to the frost point, but not yet, thankfully. The broccoli is still not doing a darn thing. The carrots here they're looking alright. They're not looking super thick, like at the base. So I did pick one from the other bed the other day just to see sort of how big it was, and it was not big at all. So I'm just leaving these in. From what I can tell, you can leave carrots in basically forever, and they'll just kind of store themselves in the ground the same way they would store themselves in like a root cellar. So I'm gonna leave them. Why not? And then these bunching onions are actually thickening up a smidge since I cleared out that broccoli that was here. Actually, I know since last week I cleared out one more broccoli plant. I don't remember which one. Oh, it was this one. So this big gap was the big kahuna broccoli plant. Let me tell you, that sucker was intense to pull out. It was like pulling out a tree. The root, or rather the stem of it was like this thick. It was crazy. But that's why this whole area is cleared now, because I'm trying to get more light to the broccoli, not the broccoli, to the carrots and the onions that are here, and that broccoli just was not producing. So now this is the only broccoli plant left. I had I think I had 5 plants to start. None of them have produced, and so this is the remaining broccoli plant. The good news is I actually haven't seen any of those little green worms lately. I'm looking now. I don't see any, so maybe those are gone. That might be good. At least that means the leaves will grow. But I don't really have any hope for getting broccoli out of there. Then we have the beets, which are also getting more light now that the broccoli plant is gone, and the leaves have actually gotten bigger. Like, these plants are probably twice the size they were last week, which is nice. And then there's some more carrots here. Again, nothing really great in terms of root size. I was watching some YouTube videos over the weekend or the other day. Just, they popped up in my recommendations, and one of them was about carrots. And it's possible, I can't remember exactly, but it's possible that there's too much nitrogen in the soil. And it could be because of what was planted right before these. And I know that there were beans planted all here, and if memory serves, and I could be totally wrong here, there's some correlation between nitrogen content and beans that I need to look up again to remember, but it's possible that there's just too much nitrogen right here, and that's why there's like fluffy tops and no roots. But I don't remember exactly what the nitrogen correlation is with beans, so it might be that it removes all the nitrogen, or it might be that it adds too much nitrogen. But either way, I have some suspicions about what might have gone wrong with these carrots, or it could just be that it's later in the year and they're taking forever. Who knows? Other than that, we looked at the tomatoes. The celery's doing okay. It's getting more light now too. It will get way more light once these tomatoes are gone. And we have the 2 eggplants, the 2 remaining of the 3 eggplants. They're pretty decently sized. I think I'll leave them a little bit longer, like maybe another week, just to see how big I can get them before we pick them. That one over there is way smaller, but I just don't think the weather is really conducive to eggplants anymore, so even if I do leave them out, I don't think they'll get much bigger than this. And that's it for, oh, the Brussels sprouts. So again, they're being eaten right here. I don't know who's eating them, but they're growing. The plants are bigger, and same is true for over there. That plant is less large, or smaller, and way more eaten. So I actually might get rid of the kale also to help get rid of the bugs that are eating these sorts of things. And once these tomatoes are gone, we'll get more light to this Brussels sprout here. So there's a lot of incentive to get rid of these tomatoes soon. Alright, now over to the insane tomato bed. I've actually been picking cherry tomatoes from here for the past week or so. Same sort of situation, not really ripening beyond green anymore. So I might pull this out this weekend when I pull out the other ones, but I also, just because I've kind of let this all run wild, I might just leave it and see what happens. It's not really bothering anyone. It looks a mess, but there's really no reason to remove it. It's not like it's blocking light from anything else, so maybe it'll just stay here and I'll see what happens if I let it run wild. Like, maybe I'll have tomatoes in December. Doubtful, but it's a chance, I guess. You can see there's tons of cherry tomatoes there, and let's see where else. Over here, and right there, and back there, there's a whole bunch that I can't even get to, which is another reason just to let it go. And then, let's see, pop over here, we have the plum tomatoes. They're not getting very large, so I don't think they'll really go beyond sort of this size. There's one decently sized one down there. Alright, and then over to the other bed. Ooh, steps in a hole. So yeah, there's the one eggplant here. I actually see what looks like a baby over here. Let's see.
Yeah, there's a baby eggplant there. That's a surprise. And there's that one. Then we have the radicchio. Varying states of messiness. I definitely planted these guys too close to each other, but it was kind of cramped back here at the time, so I didn't have a choice. I pulled one of these carrots. I'm pretty sure it was one of these. I pulled one of these carrots out the other day, and it was very small. So, I don't know if it's the same nitrogen problem. I mean, the tops are really nice and large compared to where they've been in the past, but still no carrots down there. We have one pepper. Pretty sure that's not going to grow anymore either. Then radicchio. The cauliflower is growing, but also being eaten alive. I don't see any bugs over here, so I don't know what's eating it. But the plants are decently sized, so I'm just going to let them go. And then I pulled 1 or 2 more radish the other day, and you can see there's actually carrots sprouting up all over here, so I have to be really careful where I step now. There was a really, really big one in here, and I can't remember exactly where it was. So these leaves are all huge compared to those leaves over there. But right now, the larger radishes are in the front. I pulled probably 4 or 5 total from back here so far, and they've been a decent size, like way bigger than any of the radishes I grew earlier this year. But there's one. Let's see if I can find it, because it's huge. Hold on, don't want to step on anything. All right. Oop. Okay. It's somewhere like right around here. There's one there. There's like, whoa, sorry about that. Just dropped you in the radishes. There's one variety I'm growing that's like really long and narrow. So I think that's what that is. There's a decent sized one in there, but that's not the big one. There's a couple of smaller ones here. A long one there. Where's the giant one? There's some more in there. I don't know if you can see them. I thought it was right in the front. I remember it looked like seeing it. Like, holy crap. This one right here. Yeah, there it is. Hang on. Get a better view. Look at that. That guy right there. There's my finger. There's another one growing next to it. I think this, sorry, dropped you again. This variety in particular, I think is sort of short, squat radishes. So they're not round, they're more kind of oblong. And actually I'm gonna pull this one right here because it looks like I'm having some cracking issues, which is not ideal. I think with all the variable temperatures and stuff we've had, it's not perfect. So this one here, I'm excited to pull. Let's see, what else do we have? Ooh, hang on, what are you? Nah, you're still small. But yeah, so life lately has been just rummaging through radishes, and you can see the carrots are starting to come through. Hey, focus. The carrots are starting to come through over here, over here. Some of those are wildflowers. That's a wildflower. Just left over from the wildflower garden. So, yeah, that's it for now, I think. Everything else is just ready for winter. And I still have to get my leeks in. I know I say it every week, probably for like the last 3 weeks now, but the weather just has not been cooperating. So once those tomatoes come out, I think I'm going to put the leeks right there. And actually I have a ton of leek seeds, so I might just put them everywhere and overwinter them and see what happens. I've never actually grown leeks or used leeks for that matter. It should be interesting. Alright, that is it for week 29. See you next week for week 30.